If you are not yet a member of the Patreon, link is in the description. Please consider becoming a member, as you will have access to many videos you cannot find here on YouTube.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
Over the past several weeks, we have covered the release of the heavily redacted Epstein files and many revelations that have come from it, including a war veteran by the name of Sasha Riley claiming to be a victim himself, explicitly accusing President Donald Trump, Supreme Court Judge Clarence Thomas, and even Senator Lindsey Graham of being complicit in PDF file behavior alongside Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein files also accuse Leon Black, former CEO of Apollo Global Management, of sexually abusing children at Epstein's home, including a 16-year-old autistic child and a 10-year-old as well. These allegations were reported years ago and they were investigated, and then they were buried. No charges, no accountability, and this man is still walking free. Not to mention how the files speak many times over about illegal transportation and the unaliving of children, and we have yet to see the arrest of anyone in America. However, in today's episode, we will be exposing the very reason why I believe that many of these predators have not and most likely will not be held accountable, and that is because this behavior has been normalized for years before Jeffrey Epstein's first victim. Welcome back to another episode of Diddy Got a Podcast, and of course, I'm your host Diddy, back with another episode, and as always, I appreciate you all for tuning in. Please hit the like button on your way in, it will really help the video, and link is in the description to the merch store, as we will be running a sale this weekend. T-shirts will be $16, and store-wide, everything will be 27% off. That is another way that you can support me. Now that we've gotten it out the way, let's get into today's topic. R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Shirley Temple, and even young actress Judy Garland, who played Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz many years ago, all four of these people have something in common. They are either the victim or the alleged predator of PDF file behavior in the entertainment industry. But more specifically, what they really have in common is that the parents were complicit in each of these scenarios. And that is what today's video will be about. I want to talk a little bit about how many of the things in the Epstein files that we've been reading and seeing and hearing about has been normalized for years, especially in the entertainment industry, as many of us already know already. However, this video is going to be a little bit different because the person in the TV show we will be talking about today was a bit more blatant than any other example I've ever spoken about on this channel before, as this TV show was engaging in PDF file behavior publicly for everyone to see, and there were no consequences for it. And the name of that show is called Just Like Mom, which was a Canadian family TV game show that aired on CTV from the years 1980 to 1985. And in each episode, the way that it will work is that three teens, including a child, their mom, or even occasionally their dad. Yes, their dad will be present as well sometimes, which I can't even begin to understand that, but I'm getting ahead of myself. It would be a child, their mom, or occasionally their dad that would compete in this game show. And the way it would work is that the children would answer a question while the parents were off stage. And then the parents would try to match those answers similar to the format of the Newlywed Game. And then there was something called the quote-unquote bake-off challenge, where kids had to create a surprise recipe and moms had to identify their child's dish. And then the winning team would be able to spin a prize wheel for things like a trip to Walt Disney World. And we've spent an ample amount of time over the years on this channel speaking about Walt Disney World, its ties to MK Ultra and Freemasonry, but that's a video for another day. The creator of this show was a lady by the name of Catherine Swing, who was the former Miss Canada of 1978. And any of you that's been following this channel so far, at least over the past 2 or 3 months, regarding the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk situation, then you would know that I've exposed the modeling industry, its ties to the illegal transportation of human bodies, PDF file behavior, and the entire industry being a front to launder money. So I mentioned that to say that it's no surprise to me that one of the creators of this show, Catherine Swing, is the former Miss Canada, being that she came from that world. So the things that you're about to hear about shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. So anyways, Catherine came up with the concept of this show, and then she co-hosted the show from season 2 onward. And then the original host of this show was a guy by the name of Stephen Young, who hosted the first season from 1980 to 1981. And then for unknown reasons, he would leave the show, and then he would be replaced by a guy named Fergie Over, who would then co-host the show with Catherine Swing, who was actually his wife. and they would co-host the show from 1981 to 1985. Now, I want to make sure that I emphasize before I show you these clips that everything I'm about to show you was not only normalized, but it was accepted and applauded by the audience. And to this day, there has been no consequences and no accountability from any adult on this game show. Because in many of these clips, you will see that Fergie Over often asks young female contestants, mostly girls under puberty age, for kisses on the lips during the program. And many times they even told them no, not that it matters, right? Because it was inappropriate, it was pedophile behavior, it was creepy, it was predatory, it was out of bounds. Somebody should have stopped them, somebody should have said something, but no one ever stopped this guy. And I want to emphasize that there were over 600 episodes in 5 years with more than 1,800 children that guest appeared on this show. And you can see that many times the children were very uncomfortable as he placed his hand on their back, sometimes in their lap, but you couldn't really see exactly where he was placing his hand because the podium was in the way.
Tara, speaking of kissing, when do you think, and this might become an X-rated show soon, when do you think your first kiss will be from a boyfriend? At what age we will accept 1 year either way? Mom has decided she wants to be a Playboy bunny. What will Dad say? You look like a young lady who likes to give lots of hugs and kisses out, do you? You're both very pretty. You have green eyes.
Blue.
Are they? They're not blue. Now, don't tell me that. Look at me a little closer. They're green. That fooled you. Are your eyes green? Boy, are they ever pretty. Wow. Did many boys comment on your eyes? Hugs and kisses. I should have known a sweet-looking gal like you would pick that one. You give out kisses, though, don't you, Stephanie? No. You don't, too?
All right. What, you like hugging and kissing?
No kisses. Can I have a little kiss, please? Oh,
You got any boyfriends?
Yeah, one.
One boyfriend? What do you do to when you're alone together? What do you do too?
we have so much fun with 6-year-olds on this show.
Heck, you don't have to be afraid of us. I'm glad you let me share this chair with you. This is comfortable up here.
But there was even one episode where his wife literally called him a creepy old man, and he just continued on as usual.
Well, I guess you can't win the show then. If I don't get a hug and a kiss. Yeah, you hear that?
And for the record, the very first guy who initially co-hosted the show, Stephen Young, he wasn't nearly as creepy as Fergie was, but to be clear, he was a little bit creepy and stepped over lines as well. Because the whole theme of the show, a lot of times they would be asking the children inappropriate questions that even back in the 1960s when things were different, it was a different time, I still wouldn't understand and can't understand what it is exactly you're looking for, what kind of answer you're looking for from a child with these types of questions.
You got any boyfriends?
Yeah, one.
One boyfriend? What do you do to when you're alone together? What do you do too?
Just talk.
You just talk? And that's all? You wouldn't tell me anyway, would you?
No.
No.
And the most frustrating thing, outside of the fact that no one was ever held accountable for this, is that Fergie Over will go on to have a very successful career, as he also helped broadcast for the Blue Jays, as he was infamous for the phrase, "How about those Blue Jays?" But he was also given awards later in life, which I've learned over the past 5 to 7 years that this is how the world actually works. It's almost like the good guy finished last phrase. The people who are actually doing the dirt, the people who are the most creepiest, are usually the ones that are the most awarded or rewarded. And to make matters even worse, they've even re-aired the show, or another version of the show. I believe it's called Just Like Mom and Dad. But I want people to understand why something like this would not only be normalized, but celebrated. And I believe this is because in the early 1980s, part of the reason that this sort of inappropriate behavior was considered the standard is because of a guy by the name of Richard Dawson, who hosted Family Feud, because he would regularly kiss contestants, even adults, on the cheek or the lips as a regular part of the show. Again, I understand these are different times, but that doesn't excuse any of it. So part of the reason why this is important is because you have to understand that a lot of these people are coming from a time frame where these things were normalized, where parents were raising their young female daughters to greet stranger men, to greet their bosses like this. So when we're reading through the Epstein files, a lot of these guys are coming from an era where their parents We're teaching them that this was normal behavior, and the times just changed. So they had to go into hiding. That's part of what I believe has taken place, right? So you all up in the comment section, did you all know about this game show? Was there something that I left out? Do you know people that lived during that time frame that normalized this behavior? Hop in the comment section, give me your thoughts. Pray for everybody mentioned in this video. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Oh yeah, Didi got a podcast.